Should we get started, David? Do you want to wait a few more minutes?
We can get started. Shall I just dive in? We do announcements in the middle, right, Catherine?
We do, yeah. I just wanted to, why don't you just introduce yourself to folks who don't know you? Welcome to Mission Dharma, everybody.
We'll dive right in. Welcome, everyone. So nice to be with Mission Dharma again tonight. My name's David Lewis, and I've been amongst you many times over the past 25 years, mostly as a yogi, but occasionally sharing the Dharma at the Sangha. I'm a student of Howie's and a big fan of Mission Dharma. So it's a real pleasure to be here tonight. And as I like to remind people, as people are logging on, in the meditation world, we don't ever have to wait for something to happen, like the meditation. We don't have to wait for anything to happen because it's already happening. Your present moment experience is in process, whether you're paying any attention or not. And all we really do in meditation is make a little extra effort to pay attention. My favorite definition of mindfulness is this. Mindfulness is an open and receptive, non-judgmental awareness of our present moment experience. Mindfulness is an open and receptive, non-judgmental awareness of our present moment experience. So that's really all there is to it. It's maintaining an open and receptive mind and not judging our experience, not judging whatever presents itself in the moment. The great Burmese meditation teacher, U Tejaniya says, whatever you're experiencing in this moment is the right experience. There is no need to be happy or unhappy with what is happening. And there is no need to like or dislike the experience. This is the right attitude for meditation. So that's the invitation for the next 45 minutes. Simply relax and cultivate an open and receptive mind state. A relaxed body lends itself to a relaxed mind. So if your intention is to relax your mind, relax that tight fist of the mind, start with the body. Finding a comfortable place in your seat, chair, cushion, sofa. Perhaps some of you are lying down or even standing up. Those are all acceptable, official meditation postures. But to the best of your ability, relax in whatever posture you have chosen. Allow your shoulders to drop. Allow your forehead to relax. The area around your eyes, allow your eyes to soften and perhaps close if you're comfortable closing your eyes. If you prefer to meditate with your eyes open, I'd suggest looking somewhere other than the screen. Find a spot on the wall or the carpet in front of you. Otherwise, allow your eyes to gently close, turning the mindful gaze inward. When we close the sense door of the eyes, sometimes our other sense doors come alive, open up. We're more aware of hearing. hearing perhaps my voice, but hearing also any sounds in your environment. Perhaps even sounds coming from outdoors. Hearing, being a bodily function, bodily sense door, happens in the present moment. Sounds arise, sounds pass away. We don't have to get caught up in sounds. We don't have to think about them. They arise and pass in a blink of an eye. Another sense door is your breath. Bringing the attention to the in-breath, the out-breath, softening the breath. There's no need to control our breathing. The breath breathes itself. Breath can be a great ally in meditation because, like hearing, breathing happens in the present moment. So if the mind wanders off in meditation or we get lost in a story, at some point we'll notice that if we're being mindful. And that's a moment of waking up. It's an opportunity to bring our attention back to the breath or the body. Ground ourselves once again in the present moment. Because the body and the breath are always here in the present, no matter where the mind goes. They are reliable anchors to our meditation, anchoring us right here, in the here and now. And as we gradually get settled, aware of our bodies, aware of our breath, aware of sounds, aware of bodily sensations, we may become aware of thoughts arising, thoughts and feelings. Just like sounds, just like the breath, thoughts and feelings arise in the present moment. They arise, they pass away in the blink of an eye, just as quickly as a sound arises and passes away. As long as we don't get caught up in them. We can simply let go of any temptation to feed our thoughts or follow them. We simply recognize our thoughts as phenomena like sounds, rising and passing. But of course, in everyday life, it's our habit when we're not being mindful to get caught up in thoughts. It happens. So that's not a big problem when it occurs in meditation. Hopefully, at some point, we'll simply notice that that's happened. So you may feel free to stay with your awareness of breath and body, if that's where you choose to rest your awareness, for as long as you wish. But you also have the option in meditation of, once you get settled, opening up your awareness to whatever else is most predominant in your experience. And that may include thoughts, feelings, emotions, reactions to things. All of these can simply be treated as phenomena arising and passing. Phenomena of no importance during our meditation. The mind may get lost many times during the course of meditation. But because the body and breath are always here, they offer themselves as an anchor to bring us back to the present. So we can return to the present moment as often as we need to. For every moment we drift away, we have the opportunity to come back. So I invite you to once again relax, sit back, enjoy this parade of phenomena that passes before our awareness in meditation. Enjoy the show. I'll just be quiet for a while and we'll ring a bell at the end of the meditation. If the mind has wandered, simply notice that that's happened. There's no problem. Simply let it be. Bring your attention back to the breath, the body. Ground yourself in the present moment and start all over again. Whatever you are experiencing in this moment is the right experience. There's no need to be happy or unhappy with what is happening. There's no need to like or dislike the experience. This is the right attitude for meditation. So now I believe we have a short stretch break, and then you do announcements, Catherine, is that correct?
That's right.
All right. Stretch break, bio break for just a few minutes.
Ready for announcements? All right. Thanks for coming, everyone. I was just sitting here reflecting on the fact that our Sangha has been here for us throughout the pandemic. And now that things are still opening up, it's still here. I just found that really profound that this Sangha is co-created by all of us who have showed up, every Tuesday night. And the showing up for Howie's for Mission Dharma has been happening for more than just this year and last year, but many years. Mary might know exactly how many years. I think it's something like 30 years that Howie's been leading Mission Dharma, and inviting guest teachers like David to come in and contribute their wisdom and their teachings. So just really appreciating that. And as you know, all the teachers and Howie and the Sangha are freely offered and freely given, and as the teachings have been since the time of the Buddha. So, and supported by all of our generosity. So if you feel so moved, you can offer dana, which is the Pali word for generosity. And I will put information on how to do that in the chat. And as you all know, it's not an obligation. No one's ever turned away for lack of funds, but it's an act of generosity to give to support the Sangha and the teachers, that can gladden the heart. So thank you. And thank you so much, David, for coming to be with us tonight. So nice to see you.
Thank you, Catherine.
David, you know what? I'm not done. I'm sorry. I forgot
That's okay.
to note one upcoming retreat of note, is that Howie is leading an in-person retreat on the land at Spirit Rock over Labor Day, September 3rd through 6th, and the lottery closes today. So there is still time to try to get into that lottery. There will only be 80 spots for that retreat. It's an in-person retreat. So I've put that information in the chat as well. If you're interested in joining that lottery, you still have time. Thank you.
And that is an exciting opportunity, an actual in-person retreat. Who would have thunk it? So, for us in California at least, today is kind of a big day. The restrictions of social distancing and wearing masks have been lifted, and we've been invited to get on with life. I don't know about you, but I'm finding these new freedoms are taking a little getting used to. When I go outside without a mask, I still feel like I forgot to put my pants on. One of the cool things, I was reflecting on what Catherine was saying, one of the cool things of the past year being on Zoom is that we actually got to see people that maybe we don't even know very well without masks up close. It's one of our few opportunities to do that. We're just starting to see that happening out in the outside world, but it's really made me happy to see the faces of Sangha week after week during this year of pandemic. So I hope we'll be able to move forward mindfully without losing some of the valuable lessons from our COVID experience. There have been a lot of Dharma lessons from this past year, including, for many of us, how to live a simpler, quieter life with somewhat less producing and consuming going on. Many of us at times have also lived with fear, with grief, loneliness and isolation, and perhaps craving for something else to be happening. Just being aware of this craving and checking our response has been a wisdom practice in itself. Earlier this year, I had an insight into craving, which is, of course, the second noble truth. When I learned that vaccines were being developed earlier this year and would become available eventually, I met that good news with equanimity. I figured that actually getting vaccinated would be months away. So I settled back and practiced patience. Didn't get too excited about it until I heard that the vaccines were finally available and that I was eligible to get one. And all of a sudden, an intense craving arose. Came out of nowhere. And I spent a week scrambling to get an appointment. Some of you might be able to relate to that experience. I was just in a frenzy for nearly a week before I got an appointment to be vaccinated. Then, when I got vaccinated finally, I felt this tremendous sense of relief. But am I really less vulnerable than I was before? Or is that just another delusion? Now it's 5 months later, and I'm starting to fret about new variants and whether I need a booster shot. So the cycle of craving and worry continues if we feed it. A year ago, at the beginning of this pandemic, I shared a beautiful quote from Ajahn Jayasaro. Ajahn Jayasaro is a senior monastic in our tradition. I believe he's English. And he sent this note out to all the monasteries in the network all around the world. It's a short handwritten note. This is what he said at the beginning of the pandemic. The more closely we contemplate our bodies and minds and the world we live in, the more profoundly we become aware of the fragility and instability. When a crisis like this pandemic lays bare the unreliable and uncertain nature of the world, we are unsurprised. We know that what is happening right now is not a deviation from the norm. It is merely that the covers have been dragged away from the truths that most people spend their lives trying to ignore. With a daily grounding in the way things are, we can remain free from panic, anxiety, and depression. We can turn our minds to compassion. Beautiful words for both the beginning and the end of the pandemic. What really stood out for me in that quote is saying we are not surprised. This is just nature at work. The pandemic may be waning, but the fragility and instability remain. Will we be tempted to drag the covers back over our heads? I hope not. I've been reflecting on these feelings of fragility and vulnerability. When I think about my future in this aging and unreliable body, I can become quite anxious and unsettled. I feel fragile and vulnerable. If, on the other hand, I reflect on the nature of this body and its built-in impermanence, those things that I have in common with all other living beings, past and present, then I can relax and experience this worldly life as being in harmony with nature. I'm still cognizant of my fragility, but no longer feel so vulnerable. For me, thinking leads to anxiety, while being mindful fosters equanimity. That's an essential difference between thinking and mindfulness. In Buddhist monasteries around the world, monastics like Ajahn Jayasaro chant the Anicca Vata Sankara chant every day. It's also the chant that's used at funerals. So here are just the first few lines in English of that chant. All conditioned things are impermanent. Their nature is to arise and pass away. To live in harmony with this truth brings the highest happiness. Pandemics are nature at work. It may have felt like we were frozen in time for a year, but if we looked around, nature was following its course. Seasons were changing, the trees dropped their leaves, and then they grew new buds, and our bodies continued aging. Some people were born, others died of COVID or other things. None of us remain quite the same, and the life we imagine returning to is not the same either. The Greek philosopher Heraclitus said, "No one can step into the same river twice, for it's not the same river, and you are not the same person." So really, the really fundamental operations of nature in the world and our bodies, it won't alter with the end of the epidemic. If there is indeed an end to it, how do we know? The past is now memory, notoriously unreliable. The future has not happened yet, so it's only a fantasy. The future is either wishful thinking or anxious anticipation. In either case, it's a delusion. I was discussing this with a Dharma friend, and she noted that she experiences stress whenever she thinks about either the past or the future. Whenever she finds herself dwelling in the past or the future, she experiences stress. There's only relief in the present moment. Stress is, of course, one of the definitions for dukkha, the first noble truth. In the Bhattikarata Sutta, the sutta is one of the teachings of the Buddha. So these are the words of the Buddha. This is a verse from the Bhattikarata Sutta, sometimes labeled an auspicious day. These are the Buddha's thoughts on past, future. You shouldn't chase after the past or place expectations on the future. What is past is left behind. The future is yet unreached. Whatever phenomena is present, you clearly see right here, not taken in, unshaken. That's how you develop the heart. Ardently doing what should be done today, for who knows, tomorrow death might come. There's no bargaining with mortality and his mighty horde. Whoever lives thus ardently, relentlessly, both day and night, has truly had an auspicious day. So says the peaceful sage. The words of the Buddha. The shorthand for this teaching is it's wise to live in the present moment, right? This is a practice that's helped me get through this pandemic year with some equanimity. Living in the present moment, no matter what is going on in your world, is the secret to happiness. Peace of mind is not dependent on the right conditions. It's simply a matter of being mindful of what is right before you. But what exactly constitutes living in the present moment? We've all probably said or thought, I just want to live in the present moment. I just want to live in the moment. That's what I try to do. But what does that actually entail? Well, the Buddha was quite specific. Referring back to this verse in the sutta, the Buddha says, whatever phenomena is present, you clearly see right here, not taken in, unshaken. That is how you develop the heart, ardently doing what should be done today. This verse is an instruction, the very instruction that we offer in guided meditations, and the intention that we set when we sit down to meditate, to clearly see what is present right here without being taken in or shaken by it. This is doing what needs to be done, a phrase that pops up over and over again in the suttas. Doing what needs to be done is simply being present, paying attention as much as possible right now without getting attached. This instruction, as the last line of the verse tells us, is about how to have a good day and a good life. Really, how to have a good moment right now and now and now. So if you are waiting for the conditions to be right for you to practice presence, if you're waiting for retirement or the right relationship or your kids to leave home or more time or less stress, then waiting will be your practice. Now is the time to do what needs to be done. Happiness is only experienced in the present moment. And peace of mind is available to you at any time, no matter what's going on in your life. Freedom is not dependent on having your ducks in a row. As the Tibetan teacher Yongey Mingyur Rinpoche puts it, all that we are looking for in life is right here in the present moment. This is the happiness of accepting things as they are. The happiness of contentment. It's a more subtle happiness than we're perhaps used to. It's not the happiness of getting what we want, but the happiness of letting go of craving for something else and being grateful for what we have. Not about getting what we want. It's about being grateful for what we have. It does not burn as hot as the happiness of getting something, but it lasts much longer. It's sustainable. It's a lasting happiness. Those of you who have a regular meditation practice may have also noticed the happiness that arises with mindfulness. Simply relaxing and seeing things as they are. The peace of mind that is the byproduct of practice is a cause for the rising of joy. Another Tibetan teacher, Lama Thubten Yeshe, says, just understanding your mind, how attachment and desire arise, how ignorance arises, where the emotions come from, just that gives so much happiness and peace. It's so much easier than we make it out to be when we're striving to make something happen in practice. It's really just a matter of letting go and being with what arises without judging. Mindfulness is a 24/7 activity. Every moment of mindfulness conditions and fosters more moments of mindfulness. The more we practice, the easier it gets, right up until the time when mindfulness becomes second nature. It's like mindfulness practice is very much like learning how to play a musical instrument or learning how to pick up a new language. It's difficult at first. It seems really challenging. But the more we practice, the easier it gets. And the Buddha actually used the metaphor of playing a musical instrument in his teachings about meditation. Both how practice makes us better, but also how tuning the instrument using skillful means is like tuning our practice, where we also use skillful means. But the more we do it, the more motivation we have. Perhaps you've experienced this. The joy of waking up, even for the briefest moment, temporarily. That joy provides the energy and motivation for more of the same. We already have everything we need to wake up: a living body and consciousness. And the world is also providing us with everything we need to wake up. Here's what the Zen teacher Charlotte Joko Beck has to say about that. This is another verse. Life always gives us exactly the teacher we need at every moment. This includes every mosquito, every misfortune, every red light, every traffic jam, every illness, every loss, every moment of joy or depression, every addiction, every piece of garbage, every breath, every moment is the guru. Life is short. The Buddha invites us to reflect on death every day. I can tell you from a personal experience that doing so changes the way you live your life. This is not my first epidemic. I was infected with the AIDS virus over 35 years ago, almost before it had a name. So when the coronavirus came along, I didn't expect to survive because I had just recovered from pneumonia just a few months before and my lungs were damaged. So now I find I've survived 2 epidemics so far. Acknowledging that I'm vulnerable has done more than anything to deepen my practice. This past year has been like an extended retreat for me. I live alone and have had very little human contact. I went for an entire year without touching another human being. But it has been quite a ride. It's been a profoundly transformative experience. And today I can say I'm as happy and content as I think I've ever been in my life. The world seems luminous to me. But perhaps that's just a reflection of a quieter mind. The prospect of death has reminded me every single day to not put off happiness for even a moment. Michelle McDonald says, when we understand how precious each moment is, we can treat each breath, each moment, as a newborn baby. The Buddha was sometimes described as he who did what needed to be done. Most of his teachings were instructions on the importance of doing what needs to be done. A version of his dying words is inscribed on the Han, the wooden block that is used to call Zen practitioners to the Zendo. So I'll leave you with his words of wisdom at the end of his life. May I respectfully remind you, great is the matter of birth and death. All is impermanent, quickly passing. Be awake each moment. Don't waste this life. So, thank you for your kind attention and patience. And we have a few minutes. We have 10 or 15 minutes. If people have reflections of their own or questions or comments, feel free to unmute yourself and put up a hand, or if I don't see you, just speak up. Let me know if any of this touched a chord for you or if brought up any thoughts you had about looking back in the past year, shelter in place. What's it like for you? Chris, please.
Hi, I've never heard you talk before. I like how you speak. It's very direct and it seemed to like wake me up out of some dullness that I've been going through. So I really appreciate tonight. So thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for that kind feedback. And waking up is a good thing.
Yeah, it is.
Isaac, go ahead.
Yeah, I really liked your I won't quote it correctly, but I think you said something to the effect of happiness is not dependent on your ducks being lined up in a row. Something to that effect. I really appreciated that because I find myself all the time trying to get every single duck in a row before I launch my endeavor, whatever it may be, and craving that perfectionism is a thing, habit that I'm working with, and so that resonated with me. So thank you.
Well, thank you for that comment. Um, I imagine that most all of us can relate to that. I've been practicing for 50 years, and I'm still trying to get my ducks in the row. But I catch myself doing it a little bit more often. But yeah, don't we always do that? And that's so often an excuse that we offer. I teach a lot of beginning meditation classes, and I so often hear people say, "Oh well, I'm just busy, or I'm just overwhelmed with work, or I can't find any time to myself at home, or I just can't get organized." And meditation always kind of is at the end of the list of important things to do. Um, I can't remember who the teacher is. I think it might have been Pandita, but I might be wrong. But he said, I recommend that everybody meditate for at least 30 minutes a day, unless you're too busy. And if you're too busy, make it an hour.
That, that's funny. I was just going to ask you something like that. What's the recommended daily number of minutes? So you answered my question without even me asking. Thanks.
Yeah, that you meditation teachers are always trying to get you to do a little bit more. So the standard answer to that is if you're meditating for 15 minutes a day at home, make it 30 minutes. And if you're meditating for 30 minutes once a day, try meditating 30 minutes twice a day. Uh, the more the better. More mindfulness uh, encourages even more mindfulness. So yeah, please do try this at home if you're not already. Try to establish your own home practice. It's well worth the trouble.
Thank
David,
you
I
so
want,
much. Oh,
no, go ahead, Michelle, go ahead.
yeah, I just wanted to thank you. It's so great to hear this. I haven't heard some Dharma in a bit. Some Dharma talking. So it's wonderful to come back to this group and hear someone I've never heard before. And I thank you so much. That was just wonderful.
No, you're welcome, Michelle. And it really makes me happy to see you here. And the point you make is that hearing the Dharma is another cause for happiness. It's something I left out of my talk that I should have probably put in, and you just did it for me, Michelle. Um, and that this is often remarked upon in the suttas that the Buddha or some other teacher. It's not always the Buddha in the suttas. Sometimes it's Ananda or other teachers, but they give a talk, and very often somebody's remark is, "Oh, that just made me happy. That was a cause for happiness." So, of all the many causes for happiness, including mindfulness being the one I mentioned, a cause for happiness, hearing the Dharma is a cause for happiness. And probably, if you're like me, that's what keeps us coming back to Sangha week after week, right?
David, I wanted to share that I actually found it made me happy and made me laugh to hear your story about the vaccine craving, because I experienced the same thing. I was sort of patting myself on the back for having so much equanimity about being stuck at home for so long, and don't need to go out and do everything. I'm happy with what I have. And then when I became eligible, or even before, I was just practically going crazy trying to get myself an appointment. And it made me realize, and I did the same thing last night, like trying to make plans for a vacation in August, and trying to like find, book all these camping sites, and there's so much anxiety around it, in wanting to get that thing. And then I get it, and I've never been there. I have no idea what it is. It's just, it's a funny little dance we do with that craving, and the compulsion of it. For me, it's very compulsive.
But and wonderful, and seeing that is a wonderful thing. Being mindful of it is, we can, at least if we're mindful, we can stop and take a breath. But I think it's real peril, because I'm planning a vacation too, and I'm finding that I'm getting more caught up in it than I think I have in the past. And I'm kind of realizing that coming out of this quiet time, for me, it's been a quiet time, maybe not for all of you, but for me, it's been a very quiet time, that these kind of ordinary activities that I've done before seem a little bit more stressful or a little bit more challenging to me. I don't know if anybody else is experiencing that, but
Totally.
yeah, it just reminds me to take baby steps and just take it easy, and take a break and take a breath. And I don't have to figure it all out in the next 2 days. Um, things will come together, but it's fascinating to watch how the mind works. That's another motivator for me to be mindful, is just because it's so interesting to watch how the mind works. Now we create our own craving. We create our own, not only our own unhappiness, we create our own happiness just by where we put our attention. Oh yeah, thank you for that, Catherine.
Thank
I actually
you.
got up at the way I got my appointment is I set my alarm and got up at 2 o'clock in the morning and called the Kaiser uh, appointment line. That's the only way I could get through. It was obsessive, as you said, obsessive.
Yeah, no, I got mine at 10:30 at night, just like having two screens open and noodling around until something opened up.
Yep, know that well. Anyone else? Any comments or reflections on coming out of pandemic?
Yeah, it's pretty. It is nerve-wracking coming out of the pandemic a little bit. I went shopping, and even though the store said, yeah, if you're fully vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask, I still put one on. It just felt weird not to have it on, and everybody else seemed to have theirs on too. And I don't know, just it was it was odd.
I noticed that today too. I went to Whole Foods and everybody was wearing masks, and the store staff and the customers and people in the parking lot. And I even saw a couple of people sitting alone in their cars wearing masks. And I thought, oh, well, I know you're not all in San Francisco, but it just, my response was, well, this is what's great about being in the Bay Area, is we're all still taking care of ourselves, taking care of each other and taking care of ourselves. Even though we don't need to be wearing masks, we're still doing it. So I found that to be kind of a beautiful thing. And the other side of that, the other thing I've been reflecting about the mask thing is our conditioning. Is I have a couple of neighbors that it took them about 6 months to start wearing masks. It really took them a long time to wear a mask. And I've run into them in the last couple of days and they're still wearing their masks. And so I'm thinking, oh, I wonder if it's going to take them 6 months to not wear a mask. We're deeply conditioned beings. That's another teaching of the Buddha, is that we're products of our conditioning. And it took a long time to condition ourselves to wear masks. And now it'll probably take us a while to take them off.
Well, it's funny. The discomfort is a word that comes up in my head a lot lately, and um, the discomfort of changing a habit that you've got that you don't want to have anymore. Well, it's hard to do, and I went on a camping trip with some high school friends recently, who I was observing them and seeing lots of discomfort as they kind of went back and forth between, as you said, fantasies about the future or pain about the past. And it was almost like, if you've ever tried to hold a bag of water and keep it steady and it just keeps flip flopping back and forth, and they just went one way and the other and kept, sort of complaining about how hard things were or how upset they were about one thing or another. And I didn't have the words to help them, but I kind of wished I had. I wasn't sure what to do.
I love that metaphor of holding a bag of water, because it's unstable, right? It's unreliable. It's unstable. You can't control it. And my favorite definition for dukkha, the first noble truth, is unreliability. Dukkha is like that. It's like a bag of water, and that's sometimes life is like going through life carrying a bag of water. It's a challenge. That's the nature of dukkha. And a response to that is to try to control things, which doesn't do us much good either. So thank you for everybody's feedback, lovely wisdom and kind feedback. I'd like to do a little something to offer merit at the end of our sit this evening, something that I do every once in a while. It helps it's more fun for you if you turn your video on, but you don't have to. I'm not telling you have to turn your video on. But whether you have your video on or not, I invite you to pick a random face on the screen. They won't know you're looking at them particularly, and you don't know who's chosen you, but somebody has. Pick a random face on the screen and offer merit or practice to that person. May you be safe from danger and harm. Just following my lead. May you be safe from danger and harm. Now pick another face. May you be healthy in body and mind. And pick another face. May you live with peace and ease. And yet another face. May you be free from suffering. And now taking in the whole Sangha, all the faces on your screen. Just as I wish to be free from suffering, I wish also for you to be free from suffering. Just as I wish to abide in love, in loving kindness, may you also live in loving kindness. May all beings be free. Thank you, and good night, everybody.
Thank you, David. Thank
Good
you,
night.
everyone.
Thank you and good night.
Thank
Good night,
you,
David.
David.
Thank
Night.
you.
Thank you, David.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, David.